Foreman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
NFL Divisional round is here, guys. We'll be looking at all games, breaking them down, providing some thoughts on the games, leans, maybe a few free picks as well for you guys. I do have a best bet this week. That's back-to-back weeks having a best bet. It's playoff time. So a little more confident in if teams are going to win than a regular season game, right? So this will be the second best bet. We hit our last week's best bet in the NFL. We were just pretty much on the Bills and the 49ers to advance. I played a teaser route, so I was able to get down 49ers to 2.5 and Bills to -2. 49ers got there no problem. Bills a little more of a sweat. In the end, I did think they were going to win the game, though. They're up 10 in the fourth. They almost even covered. But Miami put together a decent performance. A little concerning from the Bills defense. I'll go over those games here shortly. Profitable wild card round. Mainly due to the best bet. Obviously, it's a larger unit play. I don't throw these best bets out often, guys. They don't come out too often. Mainly in the future market, you'll see me do a best bet or a playoff game like this, a UFC fight, and only PGA major tournaments. You'll see that. 5-0 best bet run all sports, limited volume, and 71% best bets lifetime in the NFL. Wildcard round. Let's quickly go over an update, give my thoughts on those games. Right, we were all over the 49ers last week in the best market and the spread. We were able to hit the spread as well. I did give that out to you guys last week in this video, so hopefully you did tail that. The history with the 49ers over the Seahawks, the current run, and just a well-balanced on both sides of the ball just allowed me to get there on the 49ers. Obviously, the whole Purdy saga continues. He continues to play well, guys. Continues to play well. Threw for over 300 yards. I can't be worried about the guy until he shows me to be worried about him, right? He's not turning the ball over. Now, Dallas is going to be a little more of a test. We'll go over that when the game comes here shortly. Second half, they look great. First half, they did struggle. Remember, Seahawks went into that half up 17-16. Keep that in mind. And then, it came down the earth here for the Seahawks. 49ers won 25-6 in the second half to end up blowing them out. Bills struggled on defense in that game. A little bit surprising against the third stringer at QB in Miami, Thompson. I was surprised. Definitely, I didn't see Miami putting up 30 points. I definitely didn't see that. I did call, for the Bills to score high 20s or low 30s, which they did. But the defense, I don't think many expected Miami to score that many points. We did have Bills on my best bet, of course, which hit in the teaser market. We did have a small play. Like a very small, less than half a unit on the spread. And it was there at times. It was back and forth. They almost got there, but then Miami scored late. Got to be better. Got to get better against the Bengals this week if they want to win at home. We know Bengals can win on the road. So Bills just have to be better all around. Josh Allen wasn't great either. Allen wasn't great last game. A couple turnovers, right? So they all just have to be better from an overall standpoint. Tough beat to say the least for the Chargers, right? If you were on the Chargers up 27-0, Jags came back and won 31-30, I think you'd be pretty disappointed, especially the fans, super disappointed. I stayed away from that game. I did have a small unit on the under that obviously didn't get there. And the Jags did it to themselves, right? The turnovers early in that game in your own end. Of course, Chargers are going to capitalize and score on that, right? You see in the second half, no turnovers by Lawrence. And what happened? Chargers struggled to score. Well, they got a field goal. They got 3 points in the second half. So if you're going to turn the ball over in your own end of the field, you're going to give up points constantly. And Lawrence was able to, Maybe it was jitters. I'm not sure. First playoff game. I don't know. It could be. And then they just were able to put it all together in the second half, and it was impressive. It was impressive by the Jags what they did in the second half. The defense is a bit concerning, though. A bit concerning in that game. Not the second half. Second half it looked better, but the first half, a bit concerning. But again, Lawrence put them in bad positions. So you got to remember that. Tough beat for the Chargers. I like the Chargers. I thought Chargers could maybe make some noise in the playoffs. They didn't. The Giants got it done, which I'm not surprised about. That was my favorite underdog play of the week, Giants over Vikings. And I mentioned in last week's video, I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants go into Minnesota and beat them. They already played a close game that went to OT not a month ago or so. We know Vikings defense is fraudulent, and the team just in general, Kirk Cousins in a big spot. You got to fade. So I probably should have had a client play on the Giants. I stayed away from the game completely. I was waiting for +3.5 because yeah, Vikings had chances to win that game. It's just their defense couldn't stop anything. You know, they couldn't stop a beach ball thrown out there. So it's just, they just have to do, I think they fired the defensive coordinator. They just have to go heavy in the draft because their offense is good. They have a good offense. I don't love Kirk Cousins. But, you know, overall they have studs on offense. It's just defense. They need to rebuild that defense next year. That was tough, guys. The Ravens. It should be the Ravens. It should be the Ravens in this spot, right? They're up. They could have gone up 24-17 with, a quarter left. Bengals got shut down in the second half by the Ravens. And Bengals struggle. Burrow struggled all year against this Ravens defense. And this is when the Ravens defense was playing at their best, right? Then you see Huntley go down. 1 yard line, run the ball. Do a QB sneak. Sure, they do the QB sneak, but he decides to jump and put the ball up in the air, and it's a fumble. And it just never works that. Sure, here and there it could work. Maybe a Josh Allen. He does it well because he's long. When he's 6'4", 6'5", he's able to do that reach. But Ravens weren't like right at the goal. You could see that he did reach, and it still didn't even get there. It was still like a yard away. So Huntley, brain fart. I get it. He played decent in that game. I'm not going to give the guy too much slack. You know, he brought them down to that position in that field. He played well. They ran the ball well. Dobbins had a good game. It's just, he's not even a rookie, but it's a rookie move at the end of the day, right? And then, of course, what happens? The Bengals pick up the ball, run 99 yards. If it was a fumble on the 1 yard zone and 1 yard line, and we recovered, or Bengals at least recovered there, it would have been fine, right? It would have been okay, big deal. We can stop them now and get the ball back. But what are the odds that Bengals run it back for 99 yards? Hey, bad luck there. I thought Ravens were the better team without Lamar. When Lamar plays that game, they win that game, and we're talking about Bills-Ravens. But that's not the scenario, right? Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Bengals are moving on, and I'll be talking about that game here shortly. Monday Nighter, a no-show for the Bucks. No-show for the Bucks. Cowboys just flipped the switch from last week, right? Cowboys, very difficult team to predict, in my opinion. I had trouble with them all year. It started good with them, and then a few last weeks, I had trouble predicting their games, and that's what happened here. And with the Bucks, sure they didn't show up, but it was more Dallas. Dallas played really well, guys. Dak played really well, picked apart of that defense. The defense played really well on the Cowboys side. Yeah, Bucks didn't play well, but I think it was more Dallas. Dallas played really well. They played their best game when they needed to, and that was then. So I think they will put up a fight against San Fran. That will be interesting to see. Weekly updates are all my UFC video, guys. Go check that out if you haven't already. Or you go to my website, systemsportscapping.com. Updated records, all sports, subscription options, free picks, client comments over the years, and my resume as well. If you're looking for a disciplined betting system to win long term, not just win 1 week or a month, to win long term, year, 5 years, that's how I handicap, guys. And that's how you should as well. You should treat it as an investment. If you want to profit long term, if you're betting often, it's a perfect service for you, right? If you're just betting for fun, Oh, I want to hit a parlay with my buddies watching the game and not doing it as an income. Yeah, this service is not for you. And you're not going to win long term like that, which I always preach to you guys. But yeah, check out the client service. I do have a best bet pending here. We have a big UFC card as well. And I'm hot in a lot of sports right now, especially the NHL. NHL, we've just been exposing the books for the past 2 years in the NHL. Like my video, guys, it helps out a lot. It helps out a ton. Like, comment, and share. System Capping on Twitter and Instagram. You can give me a follow over there. Very active over there. Great follow. Sports betting information, sports news, winning tickets, updates, client comments. Everything is over there. Let's get into it. Saturday games. Yes, we have Saturday games once again, 4 p.m. start. No 1 p.m. game. No 1 p.m. game. Chiefs minus 8.5. There's some 9s out there versus Jags. Total 52.5. Head-to-head this year. KC 27-17 in KC. Somehow the Jags are still alive in here, right? Down 27-0 against the Chargers. I just feel bad still for these Charger backers every time I see it, right? And it's just one of those teams that continue to play well, find ways to win. The Jags. Make a run here. And they're making some noise in the playoffs. Right? Not too many people had Jags. I don't think anyone had Jags. Maybe to make the playoffs, sure. Win the division. No. Right? No one had it. There's always that surprise team, right? Bengals last year. Bengals made that nice run to the Super Bowl. Now, I don't think Jags can make a run to the Super Bowl. I would say not 0% chance, but a lot less chance than the Bengals. Bengals were a good team then. They had a lot of studs. Burrow. I just don't think Lawrence is there yet. He showed it in the first half there. I think their defense is still questionable as well. And going into Arrowhead and beating the Chiefs is a very tall task. 8.5, 9's high. I wouldn't call you crazy if you bet a small unit on the Jags to cover here. It's a high price. And Chiefs do struggle to cover throughout the year. I think that's probably the play if you were to bet a line here. I won't be involved on a spread here. I do like the Chiefs in another market. But yeah, 8.5 is high. But we've seen Chiefs beat them by 10 already. We obviously going to see the Chiefs' number one total yards offense against the Jags defense, which is below the NFL average. You're looking in the low 20s here in the NFL. So you're going to see, obviously, Mahomes exploit this defense. This defense is going to, as at times, have come up big for them and has won them games. It's against low-level quarterbacks and offenses, though, guys. There's a difference, right? There's a difference. You can see still the Chargers put up 30 points. Right? The Chargers put up 30 points at the end of the day still. They just couldn't close in the second half. And the Chiefs have been there, done that. Chargers haven't. Right? Chiefs at home. Mahomes. Sour taste in their mouth from last year getting eliminated. I think Chiefs win this game. I don't see them having too much of an issue. Can Jags hang around and do a backdoor cover? Sure. I could see Chiefs just winning this game by maybe 4 or 7 points. I wouldn't write that off. I just see the Chiefs' offense being too much. Jags unable to keep up on the scoreboard, and Chiefs put up probably 27 plus, and Jags aren't just going to be able to keep up there. If you want to look at some props in this one, maybe the Lawrence total passing over. Just in my opinion, the reason why that could hit is because I think they'll be playing from behind. They're going to be forced to throw. Chiefs rush these pretty decent all year, so I don't think they're going to go heavy on the rush. I can see, obviously, them allowing Lawrence to throw. You can throw on this Chiefs secondary. And if they are playing from behind, they're going to be forced to throw. Last week, Lawrence threw 288. You're looking at low, I see a 240 out there. So, I lean the over there. It's probably not going to make my client card. Not too sure if any props will make my client card this week. I already do have 2 plays sent out to my clients, 1 spread, 1 teaser. So we'll see. We'll see definitely if a prop will make it. This could be one that makes my card if I decide to go that way. But yeah, Chiefs win this one. Eagles minus 7.5 versus Giants. Total 48. Recent meetings, week 18, just recently. Giants rested guys, though, right? 22-16 Eagles. In December, Eagles blew them out. 48-22. Keep that in mind, guys. Giants got by the Vikings, which, some of us saw happening. Vikings defense was a fraud. Kirk Cousins cannot be trusted in big game, which I mentioned, guys. And Daniel Jones continues to be solid. Not spectacular. I would say in that Viking games he was close to spectacular. Jones continues to be solid. Last week, 24-35, 301, 2 TDs. You can't ask for much more against the worst defense in the league, so we'll talk about that in a second. Barkley didn't need to do much. However, did score twice. He only ran for about 50 yards, though. But the 2 touchdowns is definitely nice here. Third and if we're talking about the Eagles' defense, it's going to be night and day difference, guys, if it keeps up from the regular season, right? It's a big difference, right? So they've been solid on defense all year. Second in total yards allowed, first in passing yards allowed, third in defense in the NFL overall. A bit different, right? A bit different from the Vikings, where pretty much everything's last. Now, against the run is where you can exploit this Eagles team at times, right? 16th in the NFL. So if your game plan is just to run Barkley a ton, open up the pass, that's going to be your path to stay around in this game, cover this 7.5 with a possible underdog outright. Hard time seeing Giants win this game. Between the Jags and Giants winning the game, it's just I have a hard time seeing it. But if the Eagles have any sort, of consistency or same level of play they had in the regular season, maybe not the last game. Hurts was coming back, wasn't 100%. He should be 100% for this game. Extra week to rest. Eagles should win this fairly comfortably. But hey, Giants playing well right now. Giants have confidence, but you're asking them to go back-to-back road games here in Philadelphia, hostile environment. I have a hard time seeing Giants come away with a win here. You also got to look at the previous meeting, right? Eagles. Let's look at the 48-22 game. Last game, guys weren't playing, didn't mean much. Sanders went off in that game, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Giants aren't good against the run. Not good against the run, guys. Against the pass, decent, 14th. It's okay. Doesn't mean you can't throw on them. You can definitely throw on them. But against the run, they're 27th. So if Hurts is okay to run with that shoulder, I can see a lot of Sanders. Look at the Sanders prop over, right? If you can get it in the low 60s, I would look in the Sanders prop over there. That's probably my favorite play here. I do have an Eagles play here for clients in the teaser market. Total 48, and I'm staying away from the total here. But yeah, I would look that way here because I do think that Eagles are going to run the ball a lot. But we could see some Hurts running, taken away from Sanders' production. I know they mix in Scott as well and Gainwell. But hopefully they just feed Sanders. It's playoff time. Feed him 17 to 20 times. If Sanders does get the volume and does get fed 17 to 20 times, he goes over his low 60 total here. So that could be a look from the prop market for you guys as a free pick. I would definitely look the Sanders way just because of his recent success, and the way to beat the Giants is to run on them. They've had no success stopping the run all year. And against the pass, no shutdown corners, right? Going to have a hard time guarding Smith and Brown. But they had more success in the passing game than the run. So obviously Eagles, their offense is good on both sides of the ball. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. I think they can beat the Giants either way. So that's the only, I guess, concern for Sanders going over. If they fall in love with the pass early and if it's working, maybe they stay away from it. But yeah, that's my favorite bet here. I do like the Eagles to win the game. Don't love the 7.5 though. Sunday games, Bills -5 versus Bengals, total 49. No meetings this year. That's from 2019. Who cares? The game of the weekend, in my opinion, right there with the Dallas-San Fran game. Some would say both teams are lucky to be here, right? Maybe a little more the Bengals, I actually would say. I never thought the Bills were going to lose that game. They're up 10 in the fourth. I didn't really think they would. In the end, even if it went to overtime or something, I think the Bills would have won that game. But this shaky defense was concerning against a third-string QB. Very concerning, guys. And in comes Burrow and probably one of, right behind KC, one of the most explosive offenses in my opinion. Now San Fran's up there now. But, Bengals been doing a little longer with Burrow compared to Purdy. So I don't put San Fran up there right now. KC I probably put above Bengals, but Bengals are right there. Concerns, though. There is concerns. I recently just got a text saying 2 O-lines are out for Bengals. It's going to slow them down because they're top 2 guys. Alex Kappa, Connor Williams. That's difficult, guys, because those guys have been great for the Bengals this year, and you can see in the Ravens game, it did affect them in the second half when both those guys, Kappa was out at the beginning of the game, but when Williams was out, they don't have depth on the O-line, and it showed. He had to get that out quick. So Bills are going to have to blitz a lot and get to Burrow. Burrow's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. We know that. But he's really good when he has time. You can say that about a lot of quarterbacks. But it's a style of play because their wide receivers make big catches. They're a big play team, big offensive team. They get big plays. They don't chip away for 5-10 yards. More like a Ravens offense. This Bengals team is to throw to Higgins deep, to throw to Chase deep for that big 20, 30-yard play. But what do you need to do that? You need time in the pocket. And with the O-line guys out, that could be concerning here. It could be concerning. Still, when I see +5, I have to take the Bengals at +5. I think Bills probably win the game, but they showed me last week where they can be beat. We can see Allen at times not have good games all year. Up and down, up and down. It's hard to trust Allen at times. Right? 2 interceptions, 23 for 39. Still put up 30 points. So it's hard to say he had a bad game, but those numbers with the 2 interceptions, 23 for 39 aren't great. And against a Miami defense, guys, this Bengals defense is better. And this Bengals defense will have to play out of their mind if they want to win this game. Just because I do think that there could be some O-line struggles here. But Bills are really warranted for this line, in my opinion, at -5. We've seen Bengals on the road win playoff games last year. That's how they got to the Super Bowl. So I can see Bengals hanging around here. Definitely can see them hanging around. Very tough on the total. If I do think the Bengals offense struggles, you want to look at the under 49. But both these teams are capable of scoring high 20s, low 30s. Got to stay away from the total here. I'm going to lean the Bengals +5 here. There are some 5.5s as well. Don't love it. This is a game I love to watch and see what happens and see how much the O-line affects this team with the losses. And try to get Mixon involved a little more, guys. Try to run the ball a bit. I know Bills have been better against the run as of late. Mid-season, though, you were able to run on this team. I think it was more injury-related. They seem fairly healthy now. Look for the Bills to win this game, but Bengals to hang around. San Fran -3.5 versus Dallas. Total 46.5. I see a couple 4s out there as well, guys. Just to give you a heads up if you're watching this live before you make your bets. Head-to-head this year. San Fran 23, Dallas 17. And Dallas, that was at home in Dallas, and that was Dallas' only loss at home. So San Fran, close game, but they did beat them on the road. An impressive performance from Dallas versus Tampa. Shorter week, keep that in mind. They played on Monday. Now you got to travel from Tampa Bay again now to 49ers, which is worth mentioning. That was a Monday game, and now stay on the road to travel. San Fran, it's not ideal, right? It's not ideal. It's checkmark San Fran there. San Fran had a terrible first half in that Seattle game. It was concerning, guys. Did I ever think they were going to lose the game? No. I just need them to win the game. Did I think they might not cover? Yes. They were able to cover, which was nice, but a bit concerning, right? Purdy started a bit slow. He did start a bit slow in that game, but he ended up throwing for 332 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he didn't have a bad game, but 18 for 30, I guess that's the best. But he had another good game, guys. You know, it just was maybe the first half he was missing, guys, at first. But he's just so capable of getting the ball down the field quickly. And then you have CMC, who is capable of making the big runs and making the big catches up the backfield. And that's who I think they use a ton here. I think they attack CMC here against the Dallas defense where you can run on them. They're actually really good against the pass, actually first in the NFL in yards allowed. But against the run, they've struggled at times. And I think CMC mixed in with some Mitchell. Mitchell came back. He did play a little bit. So I do think CMC could have a big game along with Mitchell. So look at maybe those props over in that game. Definitely CMC touchdown anytime is always great, but you got to pay for it. Because, you know, they feed him. They feed him there. And he's capable of making the big 20, 30-yard run for a touchdown. So that's why that's always good. The tricky thing is, you know, you may want to look total yards for Christian McCaffrey because from week to week, it's either a catch out of the backfield or runs, right? You never really know, so it's difficult. You're kind of just flipping a coin, to be honest. That's why total yards may be a better look if you can get it like in the low hundreds. Because he's always capable of making a nice, easy 50-yard run. If he does that, you're going to definitely hit that prop. Now, why I think San Fran wins this game, but Dallas, you know, they could hang around, is San Fran obviously is really good against the run, and they need to get Pollard and Elliott involved to open up that passing game. Right? The reason why they're able to exploit the Bucs so easily, well, one, they had a bunch of time in the pocket. Bucs have no one to get to the QB, and that was an issue. San Fran does, Bosa and company, right? So that's going to be a big change here. Dak's not going to have a ton of time. If Dak doesn't have a ton of time, you know what happens? He starts throwing interceptions. That's why he has most interceptions this year. So that's something to keep in mind here. Okay, it's something to keep in mind. If Dallas cannot run the ball, they're going to be in trouble here. And San Fran has been great against the run. They were able to run Pollard a bit against Tampa. But like I said, the main thing was the O-line was great for them. And Tampa wasn't able to get to Dak at all. So he had a ton of time to throw. A ton of time. And that's why he was able to hit his spots. It's not going to be the same this week against this 49ers defense. I can tell you that much. Yeah, I like San Fran to win. I need them to win for the future market. I do think they win. Would I be surprised if Dallas upsets them? No. This is probably my favorite. Between this and Bengals would be my favorite underdog this week. I don't know who I like more. But I wouldn't be shocked if Dallas comes in and beats San Fran for a few reasons. One, they looked incredible last week. Two, they're finally due for a good playoff run, right? And three, Purdy. Purdy, is he the guy yet? So far, he's been proving me wrong. It's not like I've been betting against him. I've probably actually been betting with him. But he's still proving me wrong to say any day, any game, he can slip up now. Could this be the one? Possibly. Against the pass, this Dallas team is good. Parsons could bring the pressure. So we'll see. We'll see if this is the game. But I do like San Fran to win this game. Could be a close one. Could be a 3-point game. I would lean Dallas +4 if you can get that. That will do it, guys. That will do it. Go check out my UFC video if you haven't already. Big pay-per-view card. Looking forward to this weekend. I'll actually be missing the Eagles and Giants game, unfortunately. I do have obligations along with the UFC. But I'll be catching all the other games. I rarely miss a playoff game, but I will miss that. If anything, that's probably the one I would want to miss. All right, guys, that will do it. That will do it. Like I always say, bet smart and know your limits. Enjoy the divisional round playoffs.